So, A-Aron.
A-Aron.
I thought your name was Aaron, and then Aaron's just after correcting me and saying that it's A-Aron. No, what way do you say it?
Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron. And we were just saying, me and Matt, it's like that Keaton Peele's sketch. You know, who is A-Aron? A-Aron. Why is it Aaron?
My mother was a massive Elvis fan, and she wasn't going to call me Elvis because she said he's going to be picked on. So she called me Aaron. But the pronunciation of it is Aaron.
Yeah.
But she picked Aaron.
So how long did she spend correcting everyone for years?
Oh, Jesus Christ, for a long time.
Do you have to correct everyone?
I give up. I just give up. I lived in America for a good few years, and Aaron? And it was like, no, sorry, my name's Aaron. Aaron? And I'd say, no, it's Aaron. And then it'd just go on from there.
Listen, you star-spangled banner son of a bitch. It's Aaron.
So I was known as Aaron.
So where are you from originally?
Originally from Clonacadoo, the Kilcavan area. Born and reared in Clonacadoo. Went to St. Mary's National School in Clonacadoo. Would have got hard in school.
Why?
A learning disability of reading, writing, absorbing information. And
back then you were stupid.
back then you were stupid. You were pushed away. And at that time, you would have got a coping mechanism of being the class clown. And I actually hate that name, class clown, because it was a coping mechanism. And so I was in school. National school was tough.
Had you any family in there?
I had, all my family was in there. My brother Ian.
Have you a big family?
No, there's only 4 of us. You probably know Ian. He does tyres as well.
You know what fucking tyres?
Tyres, yeah. Black rubber. So there was Ian, there was my sister Rona, and then my brother Manus.
Manus?
Manus.
Right, you may explain why she named him that.
Well, my dad is Manus. And
First name?
First name is Manus, yeah.
And what's the history of that name?
I actually don't know, David. I haven't a clue.
We may go Googling later. Matt's on it.
Dougal.
So were you the youngest?
I was the baby.
So you went to school, didn't like it. You were considered, did you act into the class clown thing?
Yes.
Because it's easier, because I remember when in school I was shy at maths and stuff, and it was just easier just be a dick and not like impo.
Yeah.
I'd rather be the Ija that didn't bother than the Ija.
Yes.
The name Manus is a boy's name of Irish origin meaning greatest.
There you go now, Irish.
By ma.
Fair play to her.
Fair play to her, is right.
She a learned woman. She well read.
She would have been. She would have been. Her family would have been originated from Derry. So they were kicked out of Derry in the Troubles. They were Catholics.
Fucking Protestants up to their old tricks again.
Old tricks again.
So what did you do after primary school?
Primary school started in Mount Mellick, in the community school in Mount Mellick. Was suspended more than I was in it.
Why?
For acting the idiot. Again, that coping mechanism for being not able to read properly, not able to spell properly.
And did anyone know you were having that issue from your family?
Oh, they would have, yeah. Oh, God, they would have. Yeah. Like, I would have been in national school after dinner. I would have been at the table till bedtime doing homework.
Trying to bed into you.
Yeah, and I remember my mother trying to teach me how to do stuff. And then what she'd do is she'd just get fed up. And she'd get me hand, and next minute she'd start writing out all what I was doing. And I remember there was a teacher, Brendan Murphy, and I remember Brendan saying to me, your mother done that? I said, she didn't, I done it. Right, up to the blackboard. So I headed on up to the blackboard. At the blackboard, half the day, right? So you can imagine a child lying against the blackboard, chalk all over their face, and next minute, he started to sneer me. Oh, look at the babby up and mammy doing his homework. And I says, do you know what you'll do now? Fuck off. So that was the start of mammy coming to the schools. So she came down to the school.
Well, back then, what was your frame of mind? Fuck this shite, like.
Fuck this.
I don't want to put myself through this and not do
Exactly. Like, you're humiliated enough up at a blackboard, knowing that you're not able to do it, knowing that you can't comprehend what's going on. And the rest of your classmates down looking up at you. Some of them feeling sorry for you. Some of them pulling the piss out of you. You know what I mean? So that was tough. That was tough. That got in on me as a child.
Dreading the thoughts of going to school every morning.
The anxiety, the fear.
Causing rows at home.
Oh, big time. Big time. Yeah. If you ask me to do anything with my hands, to do work, yeah, no problem. But fucking don't ask me to do schoolwork. I hated it. So that really continued on into secondary school. And John Morris was the principal in Mountmellick, and he called Mammy in one day. I'll never forget it. He pulled half a butt out of his pocket.
Half a butt of a bag?
Yeah. Cranked her up, took a couple of pulls out of it, pulled it out, and he said, he'd be better off working. He's wasting our time and he's wasting his own time. And you have a track war into this school. Take him out. I was 14 years of age.
What year was this?
This was probably 91, I'd say.
And did no teacher that you had say, look, you could have a learning disability here, you could need remedial, or...
No.
That wasn't a thing back then?
Wasn't a thing back then.
So many people slipped in that, didn't they?
Yeah, big time. And do you know what? There was classmates of mine that I grew up with had the very same. And there's a very, very good friend of mine that we actually speak about it. The way we were slipped through the schooling. Like, we should have been looked after.
And that day, when the principal said that, were you in your head, brilliant, this is everything I've always wanted?
Nice. Because I had a pain in my whole mitchin.
You would have a pain in your whole mitchin. You'd have fucking hypothermia as well.
Exactly. Like, at that time, like, you had no money. If you had fags, if you had 5 fags to do you for the day, that's all you had. You know, so you'd have them smoked at 10 o'clock. You know, and it was a boring bastard of a day.
Oh, it's a long day, Mitchell.
Oh,
Cheers.
Jesus Christ.
Chaps wouldn't have the fucking fortitude to do it now, I'll tell
No,
you.
they wouldn't. No. How could they sit with themselves for the fucking day without a PlayStation in front of them? You know.
So what were your hobbies? What did you like doing back then?
I love sport. I loved hurling. I love football. Loved that. Enjoyed that. And that would have got me through school. In, say, national school, in the coming months school, we would have won a few finals. That was, you know what I mean, to me, that was the
Release.
The release, exactly.
If it wasn't for that, God knows where your head would have been.
Oh, God only knows.
Had you a good friend network?
Yeah. I had a good friend network.
That changed when you left school.
It would have changed. It would have changed because
Leaving behind
you're leaving all them behind. And now you're 14
in a man's world.
in a man's world.
That was the danger back then with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You had money. What did you do when you left school? What was your first job?
I start working for Liam Condren car dismantlers.
Condren.
Yeah, do you know the Condren car dismantlers?
Yeah.
Start working for Liam.
Aye.
So Liam was after a couple of years running at that stage, and he was working in Killy, out Killinmore, out of his father's place. So I was out in a field taking parts off cars, stripping down yokes, shelving them, serving customers, answering phones.
That was a good wide range of stuff.
Yeah, I remember I wasn't there too long, and Liam decided to head off to Dialman for the TT. And it was like sink or swim. There you go, there's the phone. So if you have any hardship, ring me.
You managed it.
And I managed it.
Were you shiting yourself?
Shite myself, yeah.
Delighted though when he came home.
Delighted when he
Place
came
didn't
home.
burn down.
Exactly, 100%. And that probably gave him an inkling of, right, this guy is
Capable.
capable.
Were you making much money?
No. £75 a week.
Enough to get 5 fags a day though.
Enough to get the fags. Enough to get the fags, yeah. So at that time, I would have been tumming to work and walking. And I remember she couldn't save money. I was £75. You're handing up money to your mother, but you're getting it back on a Sunday. But you're handing it up. So I remember I did save a couple of quid, and Liam bought me a Honda 50. And then he took
Money off you every week.
every week.
Bet you wish I had that 150 now.
Fucking hell. She's worth a few quid.
Worth a few quid now.
Me wheeling her.
Go ahead. I tried to wheelie one once as well and landed on my back.
Wheeling her, and you keep her up, and next minute the petrol drain out of the carburetor.
Stop.
You'd have to let her down, fail, back up again. But yeah, so I said working for Liam for a good few years.
You're working with anyone, any workmates?
No, there was just myself and Liam there at that time. And then his dad, Tom, Lord of Mercy on him. Tom was there. Tom kind of was a father figure. You know, he always looked out for me. Sometimes myself and Liam would have a burst up, and next minute I'd go walk, and Tom would come down. Come on, may come back. I'd come back. Myself and Liam would make up.
Were you a thick little cunt?
I wouldn't say I was thick, but I didn't like anyone. I think it was something to do with your childhood that you didn't let anyone walk on you.
Were you paranoid at that time?
Would have been very. And I wouldn't have liked anyone, not say a bully, but
If you had
Be
the
a dick.
perception of someone was even being a dick to you,
yeah,
that bother you?
that bothered me, yeah. Yeah. Big time. In fairness to Tom was the in-betweener. And,
Listen.
yeah, and looked after me. You know, he seen the hardship I got in that yard. Pisses of rain, lying under yokes, stripping, getting parts out.
When did you get sick of it?
I think we had a row. I was 17, and at that stage I picked up drinking.
How did you get into the drinking?
How I got into the drinking was coming home in the evenings. All the boys would be in the pub in Killy. And I used to...
Older man.
Oh, older, yeah. A lot older. And I would have nipped into Killy, got a few drinks up in 150 and home.
Takeaways.
No, I didn't. At that stage, no. I was drinking in the pub
Then heading home.
and then getting up in 150 and going home. And that was, to me, when I picked up my first drink, I was probably 13, I'd say, when I picked up my first drink. And I like the confidence that gave me. I like that release that it gave me.
That little buzz after 4 or 5 drinks.
Yeah. Or even 3 drinks.
Did your mum know?
Mum knew. I remember I was 15 years of age and Mum ringing down to the pub in Killy and saying to the owner, do you realise he's only 15? So I was coming home, say 9, 10 o'clock at night, with a few drinks on me, not after eating. Mum would have dinner ready and I'd be stocious at 15 years of age. Like, I know I'm a father now, and if I seen AJ coming in or Kira coming in at 15 years of age,
Mortified.
you'd be fucking, my God, you're a child. You're only a kid, like. So that was the start of the drinking.
So what did that just continue on and get worse?
So that continued on. I decided then to go to London at 17. So up on a boat, out to London.
What made you decide that?
My brother was out there at the time,
Working.
working.
Got a job for you?
Got a job for me. We landed out. That job didn't work out. And I went down to Big Ben in Westminster. And at that time, you waited outside Big Ben.
It's a big clock thing.
Yeah. And never forget it, a guy pulled up in a maroon Mercedes 220.
Please don't tell me he's going to say he'll give you £20 if you suck me off.
That was the part of it. It was just 2 jerks. But he pulled up and he says, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? I said, concrete finisher.
Did you ever do it?
Never.
Did someone tell you to say that?
Yeah.
Concrete finisher.
Concrete finisher. So he said, right. So I hadn't a clue where the fuck I was going. So where was it going? Out to Heathrow. So the Heathrow to Paddington rebuild was going on in the tunnel. And Balfour Beatty was the main contractor. And Aidan Madden was hiring labour for Henleys. So into the car, out to Heathrow, done an induction, was given in overalls. I hadn't even a pair of work boots. I'll never forget it. I had a pair of cowboy boots up to here.
Cowboy boots.
Sort of fuck.
Why do you have a pair of cowboy boots on? Is that the fashion?
That was, yeah.
We into the Cara Brooks and all that at the time. Was it?
Yeah. Right, so the cowboy boots was on, done the induction. Next minute, the guy came in and said, right, we're going to bring you down to the tunnel. So there was a shaft and you went down it with, it was a 100-foot shaft.
This is your first day?
It's my first day. Down into the shaft, going down steps. Never forget it. This fucking Kerry cunt with a handlebar mustache with a hobnail boots on him buried his heel in my hand going down. So I wasn't going down fast enough. So I said there was 4 stages.
Yeah.
So I got off and I says, you're after standing me. He says, you'll move quicker now, won't you? Down into it, was handed a sweeping brush. And was told to start sweeping segments. So you can imagine you're in the tunnel and given a sweep brush, you to sweep down all the segments. And then you had to go back. You had to do 75 segments, 75 rings, then go back and say when the machine was putting in the segments, they damaged them.
Yeah. You were just putting the finish with the brush.
No, so what I had to do was I had to cut them down, back down, prime them, and then refinish them with concrete.
With a trowel, like?
Yeah, with a trowel. So you mix up, it was like a bonding. So you mixed it up. So you had to bring it down nearly to the steel, prime it, let that dry, and then finish it off. So you had corners where the segment...
You wouldn't have been doing that the first day.
Oh, no. Oh,
that was what you ended up doing. First you were sweeping, then
Sweeping.
they ended up getting you to do that bit by bit.
Bit by bit, yeah.
How long before you were doing that?
Probably after a week, I'd say.
Did you love it?
Hated it.
You're making good money.
Savage.
What was savage money?
Savage money was you done a 12-hour shift and you done 7 days and you were coming out with £850.
What year?
96.
£850
Yeah,
in London.
in London.
17 years of age with a little taste for drink.
With a little taste. Loved a little tipple.
So when you finish work in the evening,
When I finished work in the evening, it was to a bar. Leaving out a lot of this because I had a lot of hardship before this. Like, I was living in Leighton when I got this job. So now I had to travel to Heathrow.
how long is that?
Oh, it's a good distance away. So what I used to do was, and no money. Well, fuck all money. The shop next to where I was living gave me tick. And I mean, the basics: milk, bread, beans, eggs, and cigarettes. So we were living in a house here, say, right? There was a good few of us in it. And then we got the job in Heathrow, and then I got the rest of the boys to start in Heathrow as well. And we were like, right, for us to get to Heathrow, well, we had to get Shepherd's Bush to get picked up by a van to get out to Heathrow. So we were saying to ourselves, right, how are we going to do this? So we looked at the buses. So we had to get a bus from Leighton to Liverpool Street then to Shepherd's Bush. So at that time, you give 25 pence, you go up to the top and hide and try and get yourself to Liverpool Street. And some of the bus drivers wouldn't give a shit. Some of them would fuck you off. So you were saying to yourself, right, have I enough to get,
Fuck.
you know what I mean?
No, 150 to be seen.
No, 150 to be seen. So you waited, then you arrived in Shepherd's Bush at 5 o'clock, and then you were picked up at 6 o'clock. So you were an hour waiting in Shepherd's Bush outside the tube station to be picked up by a van, into the back of the van, out to Heathrow, into the changing room, down in the shaft at 6:30, come back up. I think we used to come back up at 10 o'clock and then come back up at 2 o'clock and then come back up then at 6:30. Well, I'll never forget being handed these tallies.
What's the tally?
Tally is with your number on it. So you have a tally with one's bronze, one's silver. So if your body burns down in the shaft,
They can see what tally did. Brilliant. That's fucking brilliant.
yeah. So your there was a tally hut. So your picture and one of your tally numbers was left there, and then you had the other one, the silver or the bronze one, down there. So if the tunnel collapsed, if there was a fire down there, you were be able to identify. So that was scary.
So when you got your first wages
Yeah.
and you weren't worried about money anymore,
Got me first wages. I'll never forget getting me first wages. I got on the train and I went back to Leighton.
did they give it to you in cash?
No, give us in a check. You had to go to the Swakely Arms in Shepherd's Bush to cash it. So what you had to do was you went into the Swakely, you handed over your check, they took 6% of your check,
What the bastards.
right? You opened a tab, you started to drink Foster's, and you got your dinner. They hand over...
So you cashed your check in a pub, they took 6% and they made you drink beer.
Yes, but wait till it... This
Fucking some business model.
But what they done was, right, they were snaky fuckers. What they done was they took your check, right, and they opened a tab for you. So you could be sitting there 2 hours and next minute your name's called. You go up and you get your envelope. So at that stage, you had your dinner got, you definitely 5 to 6 pints got, you had the buzz on, and you were going to spend more. So That was the crack with Swakely. So when I got my first check,
Was that loads of you doing that?
just the pub was packed. Packed, so it was. But that was the norm out there. It was 6% to 8% of your check that they took for cashing it.
Why didn't you go to a bank?
Why didn't we go to a bank? Probably that I was 17 and didn't know any better.
So that was every Friday evening.
That was every Friday.
Drink the shite out of it.
Drink the absolute shite out of it.
All weekend or just Friday?
No, you drink it till it was gone.
All the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
For how long did you do that?
I was out there, I was on the tunnels for 7 months.
Ah, you didn't drink solid for 7 months, did you, Aaron?
We drank, yeah, sure, that was the, you know what I mean? You worked hard, you played hard.
So after 7 months, you not in the show for it.
Not one thing. Pair of Levi's. Pair of Levi's and a good shirt.
And what about the health? I suppose you're a young lad.
Young lad, you're well able for it. You're well able for it, but what fucked me up was the head. The head wasn't able for it.
What way?
That stage, and I didn't know. I had depression, I had fear, I had anxiety, and throwed alcoholism into the mix of it.
Were you homesick?
Very. Very. Yeah.
And did you not want to go home because you had nothing to show for it?
Pride. I didn't want to be going home because I was prideful in the sense of, oh, look, he's back. He's fucking nothing. That's how I thought. We rang home every week and talked to the parents, and everything's great.
Loving life.
Everything's great.
Making loads of money.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me anymore.
Grand. I'm sorted. Then I start smoking joints.
Devil's lettuce.
Oh, fuck. The devil's lettuce. Put this way to you, if you suffer from depression, you suffer from alcoholism, it's the last thing you need to be doing.
And were you smoking and drinking?
Smoking and drinking.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So what did that do to your head?
What happened to me was to get away from stuff I used to hide under the covers. And
Take to the bed, like?
Take to the bed, yeah. And it was only I was talking to a friend of mine afterwards when I got sober and was getting sober. And he said a valuable thing to me. He said, upon awakening, you have 3,500 negative thoughts. And all those thoughts is pull the covers over your head and hide. And I was like, I identify with that. I identify with hiding away and not dealing with life. And I done that, I done that for a long, long time.
And what about your brother and a few lads that were out there, or any friends going, "Jeez, come on, you can't stay doing this, or this isn't good"? Or
at that stage, the boys would have kind of moved on up and got another job, and I kind of wouldn't have been with them. At that stage, I was probably a nuisance to them.
What were they thinking? That he's just always in bad form, or he's just a manic depressive, or what were they?
No, I'd say what they were thinking was, we're out here to earn money. We're out here to work. We're not out to party. We're not out to fucking...
And you wanted a party?
And I was, yeah.
So what would you party and then have the fear the next day and not?
Not saying that you'd have the fear next day. You'd go on to work, so you would. And my thing was, if you could get out of bed and get to work and keep your mind occupied all day, grand. But it was getting from the bed to work. That was the struggle. And that's where I used to fall down.
Did you lose jobs over it?
Oh, lots of jobs. Lots and lots of jobs.
This is all in the UK.
This is in the UK. I would lost jobs in Ireland over it as well when I came back.
Did you go to Ireland after the UK? Just
Yeah.
came home.
I came home.
Did you just wasn't working for you anymore? You just had to come home, or what happened?
It was a thing where you were running, but you were bringing yourself with you.
What do you mean?
So when you're in a depressive state and you're drinking, and you say to yourself, okay, if I go here, if I go back home, things will get better. But the things getting better was your problems were still the same.
You were just changing location.
Exactly. So you're bringing yourself with you. You're going home. It's called a geographical cure. But nothing's happening. You're still in the same shit.
So what did you do when you got home?
So I got home and I was probably back with Liam again. And then I wouldn't turn up for Liam. When Liam really depended on me, I let him down. So if Liam, right, we have to get X, Y, and Z out tomorrow.
That's the day you wouldn't show.
That's the day I wouldn't show. And when I look back at it now, it wasn't that I wasn't able to produce. It was the actual anxiety and the fear of it.
So if I have a busy day ahead of me, and your head wouldn't let you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone else seen that as well.
Lazy bastard.
And would you go on the beer then?
Good for nothing. Would I go on the beer? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I would have done an awful lot of isolating in regards of Lord of Mercy, my grandmother. I would have done an awful lot of isolating in her house. So you couldn't stay around the home place because number one is you got up, you got out and you went to work.
You didn't want to hassle your mother and them.
Exactly. So my safe haven was Granny's.
And would you be smoking there?
If I had it, yes. If I had it, yes. Wouldn't be doing it in the house. I'd go down the yard.
Didn't want fucking granny bouncing off the walls and
Poor old Grange.
because there's a dragon in the kitchen. I seen a dragon, Aaron.
Yeah, Granny high as a kite. Yeah, so I would have isolated a lot in Granny's. Would have been there a lot now. Then I got a job with a builder then in Dublin. And that was, you were earning good money, but you were drinking every night.
In Dublin?
In Dublin, yeah. Like it was, finish the job, back to the apartment, get a shower, good clothes, straight to the Triangle, drink the shit out of it, maybe end up in Coppers. You would have a fucking Rex coming home because you were subbing the whole time. Come the weekend, you'd no money because you're after drinking it all that week.
Fuck.
Um,
So what age are you now?
Probably about, say about 20, 21, I'd say.
So is anyone in your family at this stage saying, Is-A-Aron, like, you know, you're fucking gone to town and drink, or what are you going doing, or like, what, this is a fucking mess, like?
Yeah,
And what went down over that? Like, was there ever an intervention? Can you remember coming home some night and they're all standing there, they're all sitting there in the kitchen going, listen?
No. You have to remember the people that our parents say grew up in a generation where feelings, emotions weren't shown, weren't talked about. My mother definitely, yes, I broke her heart in regards of coming home drunk. My father grew up with brothers, his father, alcoholics, and he despised drink.
So did you row a lot?
Yeah, a lot.
Never run you out of the house?
Yeah. I was kicked out a lot. I remember sleeping. My brother Ian had a van up the side of the lane at the home place. What happened to it was he was coming out of Mount Mellick and he was after taking the super single off, and the fucking thing blew. I blew the side door off the van.
Oh, Jesus.
But anyway, this van was parked up the side, and that's what I was sleeping in.
You slept in that whenever, you know, I'm not going home now, I'm going to be fucking here. Or I just...
Oh no, I wasn't allowed back in
Oh,
at all. Doors were locked, place was chained up.
what did you do? Did that happen?
I would have been drinking. I would have been, again, the self-centeredness would fill this room of how emotionally fucked up I was. I was that self-centered. There was no one else, only me. So I seen this. And there was no one else in that box, only me.
So did you genuinely think you were right and everyone else was wrong?
100%.
You were just having a few drinks and trying to have a good time?
I was trying to, yeah. And I thought this was the norm. I thought this was okay to do this. This was, you know, sure, everyone else is doing it, but everyone else wasn't doing this.
And how bad did it get?
It got that bad that I ended up on the beer for a couple of days, and I was starting to come down off the drink, and I was suicidal.
Was this the first time you'd ever felt like that?
No, I was feeling this way for years, from an early age.
When you say suicidal, does that mean like I want to kill myself, or I'm planning how to kill myself, or everything would be just better if I wasn't here? Or how far do you mentally go down that road?
You're constantly planning. You're constantly saying to yourself, if I wasn't here, these wouldn't be rowing. I wouldn't be fighting with these. And these, meaning my parents, my brothers, you'd feel, okay, I think I should fucking take off now.
Would you ever plan it in your head?
Yeah. I ended up sleeping in that van and coming home one night, and to the grace of God, Ian was out in a breakdown and came in and found me swinging out of the rafters.
You did it?
Yeah.
What was going through your head, like when you were actually
in
doing it?
This is it.
And no fear?
Full of fear. Didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live either. There was that many... The pain, that's all I can describe it as. The pain inside And I only felt that pain again when someone passed away. But that's the only way I can describe it, is that pain inside of your head and in your heart. That you're a round hole trying to fit into a square peg.
And when you were doing it, are you thinking, this is going to save everyone else from the hardship or yourself?
There was mixed emotions in that. I was angry. I was angry with people.
And in your head, are you like, oh, this will show them?
Not that it'll show them, but I was sick of the same old record. The same shit of I just can't handle this anymore.
Did you instantly regret when you did it? Like when your brother came in, and were you happy? Were you happy to be saved?
Again, mixed emotions.
That's scary.
Yeah.
You'd imagine you'd be like, just thank God. That was the...
When he got me down, like for him, Jesus Christ, like to find your brother swinging out of a fucking rope. Like, he wasn't expecting that. He was coming in to turn the lights off in the shed.
Just pure luck.
Yeah. He got me down. I was unconscious and he got me down and brought me down to the house. And I ended up going to psychiatric in Portlaoise.
They rang the ambulance and stuff.
No, I didn't ring the ambulance. They brought me over to psychiatric in Portlaoise that night. And
what's going through your head then? Like, do you think they're doing something bad to you?
Yeah.
Or help?
Yeah. So now I'm brought into the psychiatric on watch for suicide. So now I'm drunk. So they throw me into a padded cell for the night.
Like a real padded cell?
Yeah.
Like what you see in the film?
Yeah. So that's where I woke up. So then I was taken out of that. And at that time, the old psychiatric in Portlaoise was when you went in through the side door, you went in and then anyone that was on suicide watch was into the left. So there was beds right around. And there was a couple of nurses in this room, 24/7.
And what way did they treat you?
Very good. Very good. Very nice.
So who's the first person you talk to after that? That next day, is there a doctor comes into you? Is there some nurse?
Doctor and nurse comes and does an assessment.
And you haven't talked to any of your family since the night before?
No.
And what did they say to you?
Just ask me why I was committing suicide.
What'd you say?
I don't know. I said to him, I don't know. And at that stage, I didn't know. I didn't know why I was feeling this way.
Did they send you home then?
No, they kept me for 7 days.
Drugged?
No. No medication at all.
Doctor?
Doctor come around, do his rounds.
Psychiatrist?
No psychiatrist.
Is that mad?
Yeah. Sat down with never forget him. He was a guy and he used to sit on the side of his bed and he used to rock, rubbing the side of his head. He was an absolute gentleman.
Oh, you're in a ward with all
I'm in
these...
a ward, yeah. So he used to say to me, I can't talk to you now. So he was hearing voices in his head. And he'd be rocking. But he was an absolute gent. Then there was an old man that used to be wheeled into this room every morning with a blanket over him. And no one spoke to him all day. And what had happened was meal times, he used to be just wheeled down, wheeled back. And I remember having a conversation with him. And I used to talk to him during the day. And I used to see his spirits lifting. You know, having a conversation. There wasn't a fucking sign wrong with him, man.
Just no human interaction.
No human interaction. And I often thought to myself afterwards, like, for me as a parent now, and for me looking at my own parents, how the fuck could you put a man like that into a mental institute?
What's your family thinking at this time? Like, are they ringing going, what's the crack with him? Or what do we do? Or where do we go from here? Is he on suicide watch now? Like, are you going through withdrawals with drink?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Not good.
Are you sick?
Yeah, very sick. Very, very sick.
Were you pulling the place down for beer?
I wouldn't say I was pulling the place down for beer. I was rattly. I was rattled. And now I had the shame, the guilt, the remorse.
Because everything's coming back to you in the cold light of day.
Exactly.
And can you remember the first time you spoke to your mum after that?
Yeah.
Or your brother?
Yeah. You remember my mum coming in? And, Jesus, what were you thinking? You know, again, they hadn't got any idea of actually what was going on.
Sure, you didn't even know.
I hadn't a fucking clue. Friends of mine came in, visited me. My family came in, visited me. So what they did come up with was, okay, this guy has alcoholism.
Was that what they were putting it fully down to?
Fully down to was alcoholism.
Even though it was one of the symptoms of
Exactly.
depression?
Yeah. So they let me off after 7 days. My mother had reached out to a guy that was after getting sober. And I remember him coming to the house and chatting me.
Were you all for getting sober at this time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, did the 7 days in there, like, "Oh, I'm changing my life now"?
I don't think I accepted it at that stage that I was an alcoholic. There was an awful lot of acceptance to be had, and I hadn't accepted. Jesus Christ, I'm only fucking 21. Like, there's more to life than this. And I love drinking. So...
Like the episode of Hardy Books, I'm an alcoholic, fair play to you.
Fair play to you.
Fair play to you, lad.
Bless you. So we went to meetings, identified with a lot of stuff.
They had to help.
Yeah. Identified with a lot of stuff. So kept going to meetings. Next minute I start smoking pot again. And that went on to harder stuff. Start smoking pot, start doing cocaine, start taking pills. Now there was no meetings. Now I was losing weight.
Were you still feeling suicidal?
Yeah. Yeah,
So you just swapped drink for drugs?
exactly. I ran with that.
How'd you fund the cocaine and stuff?
I was working and you were getting thick. I remember one Christmas, I was after working like a whore to gather money for Christmas. And I said to myself, right, this is going to be a good Christmas now. And I remember handing £600 over. No, it was €600. Yeah, €600 over to a guy for cocaine. And in my head, what I was going to do was I was going to cut this. I was going to sell it. I was going to double my money. And I was going to have an even better Christmas. But I ended up snorting it all.
And going out or just at home?
Going out, I remember sitting in...
Are you back drinking?
No, didn't pick up a drink.
So was everyone in your family thinking, oh, he's off the beer now? Everyone's grand.
Everyone's lovely. And I losing weight rapidly. Rapidly losing weight. So then, a brother of mine, Manus, him and his wife now, went out to America, out to Boston, in November 2002. And myself and Manus would have been very, very close. Very close. He was kind of my...
Rock.
Yeah. Now this rock was gone and my drug addiction got very bad.
How bad?
I was starting to smoke cocaine.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Why?
Why smoke it?
It was the better buzz in smoking it than snorting it. It was a straight hit. I done that for a long time. I left 2003, the 16th of September 2003. I was 9.5 stone. I
You just weren't eating at all?
wasn't able to eat. Just not able to eat. Picking. There was friends of ours was after going out to Boston, out to visit Manus and Helena, and again I was back working for Ian at the time, smoking dope, daily, like cigarettes, and working. And I remember Ian used to go fucking mad with me. He'd just look at me and say to me, "You fucking bollocks, you. Can you not fuck off with that shit? Like, drugs and Ian. Well, drink a fucking pint, you'd be grand drinking a pint. Walking don't be at that shy."
Yeah.
That's the, you know what I mean? So, the 16th September 2003, I got on an airplane and headed for Boston. Remember landing in Boston and I met Manus and Helena, where Helena worked at the time, was the half door on Quincy Ave. And I walked in through the door and Helena went, "Holy fuck."
She didn't want to see it at all?
No, she wanted to see me.
But she seen you so emaciated nearly?
Yeah. She seen this fucking lad coming through the door, 9.5 stone, a big fucking dragged face on him. And she was like, "Holy fuck, Aaron, what are you at?"
Did you tell her?
Yeah. Now, myself and Helena were really good pals. We would have been good pals, and that's really how Manus started going out with Helena, was through me. And so...
When Manus seen it, did you not go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, why, yeah"?
I'll never forget what Manus said to me. Manus said to me, "Aaron, I'm going to tell you something now." He says, "I'm after getting away from Ireland." He says, "Me and Helena are starting a life here." And he says, "Fucked if you're going to fuck it up for us." And I was like, fair enough. So, still hadn't picked up a drink. Me being me, found a dealer.
Straight away, before you got a job?
Yeah. this guy came around to the back of an apartment with a satchel on a push bike full of weed
Like something out of wire.
and fucking pulled it out. And my first thing was, how do I know what this is like? Should we roll one and see? So I say, your man's like, what the fuck am I dealing with here? So crank it up anyway. That's grand. Paid him for an ounce of weed. He fucked off. I went in, smoked the joint, thought I was still at home smoking the joint. Went into the toilet, couldn't get off the toilet. I was like,
Real strong stuff.
holy fuck, yeah. So that continued. I was smoking weed.
You working?
Got a job. Got a job with a really good guy. Guy from Ballinasloe. Helena yoked me up with this guy. Met him. Started work. He says to me, where are you from? I said, Laois. Where in Laois are you from? I said, Clonacadoo. And he says, you know Clonaslee? I said, yeah. He says, I've relations in Clonaslee. So we got chatting about them and that. So dice was broken. Went to work. Worked like a whore. And he said to me, have you an apartment? I said, no. I said, I'm sleeping on the floor of the brother's place. He says, I've property. He says, and I have another guy, he says, looking for an apartment. He said, if you're interested, two of you move in together. So I said, right. I says, Mike, I've no money to give you a down payment. He said, I didn't fucking ask you for a down payment. He says, the apartment's there. Pay me at the end of the month. I says, grand. So myself and Jim moved into the apartment and picked up our first couch off the side of the street. Slept on the floor in a sleeping bag till I was able to afford to buy a bed. So now I had a bit of getting up in the mornings.
Routine.
Yeah. The routine was starting to happen. So up in the mornings, I wasn't smoking weed during the day. I'd get home in the evenings. I'd make a dinner. And myself and Jim used to do the shop between us, have food in the fridge, and we'd make dinners every evening when we came home. So that went on until the 17th of March, 24.
The 17th of March 24?
Or sorry, 2004.
Or 2004?
Um,
Jeez, I was thinking,
yeah.
we got a time machine.
Boom! So we, there was friends coming out from Ireland heading for New York to march in the St. Paddy's Day parade in New York. And we were back and forth, and I said, right, I'll head up to New York, meet these.
As you do.
As you do. I'll never forget, Mike dropped me to South Station. He says, you bollocks now, be back for fucking work on Thursday. I said, yeah, no bother, Mike, I'll be back. So I headed for New York anyway, and I had this uncomfortable feeling. That's all I can describe it as. Anxiety. I was
Meeting people that you hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah, I was among all these people, right? These were all, hey, Happy Paddy's Day, yay.
Yeah.
And here I was drinking a Coke. And I said, fuck this. And I said to the bartender, put vodka in that. Next minute it was off.
Off the wagon.
Off the wagon. So we...
Did your friends not go, I just don't? You're not, are you?
Sure, they didn't know until I was jarred. Because I was going up, they still thought I had a Coke. And I was going up getting around a drink. But every time I'd swing around to go out for a fag, I was going to the bartender and she was filling the vodka. And next minute I was getting jarred. And when they were going up to get around, I'd say, you may put vodka in that. They were like, what? Yeah, I've been drinking all day. So We stayed in New York. We were in Rosie O'Grady's, just off Times Square. And we were going to head out to the Bronx, where all the boys were living. And there was more lads out, say from Killy, Tullamore, that were out in an Offaly pub out in the Bronx, on Katona. And so we got a town car out there. And
Sorry, Aaron, can you just pull the mic over to you?
sorry.
No, you're going to just pull it over to you.
Yeah.
I didn't know, as I was so busy thinking. That's why Matt's here.
So we're in town car heading out, and I remember saying to one of the lads on the way out, "Can you get coke out in the Bronx?" And he says, "Oh, geez, yeah, no bother." And we headed out to the Bronx anyway, and myself and another guy from Killy were the last to leave this Offaly bar. I think it was 4:30 in the morning. So what was going through my head was, right, I have to be fucking back in work in the morning. So this is now Thursday morning. And I was saying to myself, right, I have to be back in work Friday morning. So back into Manhattan, to the bus station, get the Greyhound back to Boston, 5.5 hours on the bus. Back to South Station in Boston, and get into bed, couldn't sleep. Next minute, Mike was at the door at 6 o'clock. Boom, 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 boom. Got dressed, into the van, went to work, came home, got a shower, and rang a friend of mine. I said to him, "I'm back drinking. I'm going to Murphy's down in North Quincy. Are you coming?" He's like, "Jesus Christ, no, fuck, jeez, don't, you're not drinking, are you?" I said, "Listen, I'm going, either you're coming or you're not." So he met me down there.
Did your flatmate not go, "Oh, Jez, don't do this"?
Jim, at this stage, I hadn't seen Jim. So Jim wasn't home. Jim was over for the gargle himself. So
Well, he knew the crack.
he knew the crack. So I went down to North Quincy, went into Murphy's, started hammering down vodka, and ended up going into Quincy Centre. Went into the half door. There was a guy there working behind the bar. I knew him. He knew the crack and he shut me off.
What do you mean? He wouldn't let you?
Wouldn't serve.
Fair play to him.
Yeah. So I went home, back home. I must have brought drink home with me because there was drink in the room the next morning. Mike's at the door again. Boom, 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 boom. Up, I'm still half steamed, into the van with him. We were doing a job down in... Where the fuck was it?
Doesn't matter, yeah.
Down in Charlestown, I think we were doing a job. Went into the door. Mike was meeting the plumber and he was going through shit on the 3rd floor. So I was on the 1st floor. I pulled the door behind me, straight to the train station. Up in the train, back to Quincy, into an early house.
Never even told him?
Never said anything to him. Into the early house, got shut off.
So once you went back on the beer, was that it? Once you went back drinking, that was it. I don't care about anything anymore now. I just want me drink.
That's where I'm talking about the self-centeredness. The self-centeredness of the alcoholic is fucking unbelievable. That they do not think about anyone else.
And did Mike ring you then? Where the fuck are you?
Mike rang and rang and rang. I shut my phone off.
Did you ring your brother?
No. I didn't ring Manus.
When did Manus figure out you were back?
Manus got a phone call that Saturday off one of the lads and they said that your brother's in a hoop in Paddy's and he's after being shut off. So I remember Manus coming around to my apartment that Saturday evening and going fucking mental.
You didn't give a fuck.
Not that I didn't give a fuck. Deep down, I did give a fuck. But the alcoholism was calling all the shots.
But out in America, like how many shots can you pull when you run out of money and you're not making? Like, how long can that last?
So this happened over a period of a weekend. So this is going up to New York on a Tuesday. Wednesday's Paddy's Day.
Manus is there on Saturday at your apartment saying, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. And I wake up Sunday and Mike's standing in the living room. And this is the guy that I worked for. Mike says, I'm giving you an ultimatum. He says, you come out here, he says, to sort your shit out. He says, you want to fucking drink and that? He says, no problem at all. Get your shit into a bag and I'm dropping you at Logan Airport and fuck off home. And do it at home. He says, what do you want to do? And at that stage I was fucked. And I said to him...
What do you mean you're fucked?
I was fucked mentally, I was fucked at this stage.
Were you feeling suicidal again?
Yeah. And I said to him, I need to sort this shit out. Right. He says, first thing you'll do in the morning, he says, be on the fucking steps, he said, at 6 o'clock. Don't have me fucking knocking on your door. I said, right. Didn't sleep that night. Sat at the door, 6 o'clock. Mike pulled up, got into the van. He said, right, we're going to find you an AA meeting today. I said, right. So I went to work, put in a good day. He said to me, I'll be back for you, he said, at 6:30. So he dropped me off at 5 o'clock. He said, I'll be back for you at 6:30 and I'll bring you to the meeting. So he came back, loaded me. The meeting was in a courthouse in Quincy Central. I walked into the meeting and it was called the beginners meeting. And
you went, sorry now boys, I'm a professional here.
And now boys.
Professional here, this is the wrong place for me.
I'm Irish. I can drink with the best of you. But I went in, sat down in the meeting and listened. There was a guy out there, the way they do the meetings is there's a podium and everyone's sitting down, and this guy was talking, and he was talking about me. He was talking about the emotions, the fear, the anxiety, the compulsion. And for the first time, my ears opened and I listened. And when the meeting was finished, I went up to him and I introduced myself. And he sat down and he talked with me. And he said, if you want this, I'll help you. But he says, don't waste me fucking time. I said, right, fair enough. So I ran with him for a good few years, doing meetings.
How long did you stay out in the US?
Till 08.
Did you stay clean?
Yeah.
From that moment on?
Yeah.
And fair play to Mike.
Fair fucks to Mike.
Some boss.
Fair fucks to him. Yeah.
So would you consider them the men that saved you?
Yeah. Big time. Big time.
What was the hardest thing to do? Is it to consistently keep going to the meetings and keep tipping away? Or did you go to meetings and go, right, I have issues that I need to resolve that I have?
I remember I was doing meetings every night. Weekends I was doing 2 meetings every day. Saturday and Sundays I always done 2 meetings in the mornings and the evenings. I was 16 months sober, and I was in a meeting. It was big book meeting, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I remember coming outside, and now at this stage there were suicidal thoughts still there.
Even though
Even though I'd no drink, I'd no alcohol, I'd no drugs, I'd no nothing, I was clean. But still, those thoughts were there. And I was outside the meeting in St. Christopher's, and I was smoking fag, and I was kind of on my own. And this guy called Bob came over to me. And he said, "You're not doing too good, are you?" I said, "I'm not, Bob." I said, "Is this as good as this gets? Because I'm fucking feeling shit." And he says, "Okay." He says, "Did you go through the 12 steps yet?" And I said, "No." He said, "Next Wednesday night, meet in my house and we start." So met at Bob's house on the next Wednesday night, chatted, got to know each other. We cried, we laughed, we fished, we fucking met in upstate New York when he moved away to do these steps.
what are the steps?
The steps, there's a 12-step program.
And how come you were at so many meetings and they didn't put you through the steps?
It's not like that. It's, you have a sponsor. So that guy that I met at the very first meeting became my sponsor. He was very old school in regards of you have to be a certain amount of years sober before you face the steps.
Okay.
Bob knew that I was suffering and he knew there was shit to come out. And the steps bring you through a program of recovery. Promptly admit that I have a problem. Hand your life over to a power greater than yourself.
Is it a religious thing?
No, and that's where people think that this is a fucking cult.
I have the 12 of them here if you want me to read them out. They're in bullet points.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, go for it.
So number 1 is admitting powerlessness over the addiction. Number 2 is believing that a higher power in whatever form can help. Number 3, deciding to turn control over to the higher power. 4, taking a personal inventory. 5, admitting to the higher power, oneself and another person to the wrongs done. 6, being ready to have the higher power correct any shortcomings in one's character. 7, asking the higher power to remove those shortcomings. 8, making a list of wrongs done to others and being willing to make amends of those wrongs. 9, contacting those who have been hurt unless doing so would harm the person. 10, seeking to take personal inventory and admitting when one is wrong. 11, seeking enlightenment and connection with the higher power via prayer and meditation. And 12, carrying the message of the 12 steps to others in need.
The ones
correct?
where you have to,
do the inventory.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
that's a tough one.
Did you have to do that?
Tell you a funny story about that.
Do the microphone thing now.
Sorry.
Drink away, drink away. No, don't drink away. I mean the water. For anyone that is
Anyone's listening, it's not
on
drink.
Spotify, I'm not,
It's
not
Ballygown
drinking.
sparkling.
Yeah,
David endorses alcoholism.
looks like it.
When I was doing a fourth and fifth step, I remember going to a priest down in downtown Boston. And how it became was, I was saying the winter, you wouldn't be really allowed to do the carpentry around people's houses when it's snowing. So I went on a snowplow. So the bad storm of 2006, I was out on a machine. And I was outside the church down in South Boston.
I'd love to drive on it.
Yeah. And I was sitting outside the church, eating a sandwich, drinking a coffee, and a priest came out. And all the cars were being towed away for us to plough. So the guys in the tow trucks had to bring the snow off to identify the vehicles to get them out. And the priest comes out and he's chatting away to me. And he says, "Isn't it terrible they're taking the people's cars?" I says, "Yeah, but sure, we have to clear the snow." So we got chatting anyway. He said, "Would you do me a favour?" He said, "Would you clear the snow in front of the church?" I said, yeah, no bother. So I was clearing away the snow anyway, and he was standing at the front of the church on the steps. I finished up anyway, and he says to me, are you a churchgoer? And at that stage, I had gone back to Mass. And I was trying to find myself with a higher power. And at that stage, I was using my Granny Dunne as my higher power. So he said to me, there's not going to be many parishioners here tonight. He said, maybe you'll come in. So he says to me, would you do the first reading? And I'm like, Jesus, Father, sure, I'm not able to read. Sure, he says, I'll help you through it. He says, right. He says, what's your family's name? I said, Dunnes. He says, sure, we'll have the Mass for the Dunne family.
Jeez, you can't say no then.
So in anyway, there was 4 people in the church. So I go up anyway, goes like that, go up, do the first reading, stammered through it, and Mass is over. Prayed for the Dunne family. He said to me, do you need to use any of the facilities? So I said, yeah. So I went in, used the facilities, came back out, thanked him, he thanked me, and I got the machine, fecked off. So my phone rings, and it's my mother, Lord and mercy on her. And she's like, well, Aaron, how are you? I says, yeah, not too bad. She's not to frighten you now. She says, Ian's after going into hospital. I says, right. She says that they think that his legs are after swelling up. They think it's a clot. She says, I'll keep you posted. So I'm right, grand. So about an hour later, she rings me back and she says, he's okay. And I'm like, and what was wrong with him? She says, we don't know. And at that,
His fucking legs just swelled up.
his legs were swelled. He was in hospital. And something was after happening to his leg. I actually never got to the bottom of it. But she rang me back and she says he's going to be okay. For me, I know this sounds, you're looking at me.
No, I just said, I'm there thinking the fucking priest maybe was a demon. And he
But
put
this
a
is-
fucking hex on you or something.
Wait till I tell you. So, I went, this is all over. The snow's over. I'm off the machine, back working normal days. Go to do the 4th and 5th step. Go back down to where I met this lad. Said, I'll do me 5th step with this guy. Couldn't find him.
Who?
The priest.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Where's he gone?
Went into there was an old man, 83 years of age. He stepped in for him. He was always saying, the priest that I was with, doing the first reading for, he was out of another parish and came and not to bring the 83-year-old priest out, but I could never find him. I looked, I asked, there was a church in Dorchester Ave, St. Mark's. I used to go to that meetings, and I asked around there, and no, didn't know him.
So do you think he was a sign for you?
Yeah. I think what that was it says, come and believe in the power greater than yourself. And basically what that means is stop taking control of your shit and hand it over. Hand it over to a power that's greater than me and let them deal with it.
And do you think that helped you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did your life turn around from there?
My life turned around from there.
Like, did you find it easier to do everything there then?
Yeah. So I now for the first time knew who I was. I now knew
You felt you had control.
exactly. So I now knew that I was an active alcoholic, but this was a crutch.
What was the crutch?
the alcohol and the drugs,
Okay.
to what I was dealing with personally. I wasn't able to handle relationships. I wasn't able to handle anything. Because number one is, there was that much fear. I didn't know what unconditional love was. I didn't know how to show love because I didn't love myself. To look in the mirror and see the person looking back at you.
So you start liking yourself.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So now, these 12 steps had introduced me to something. It was a manual to finding out who Aaron is. Who are you? And it opened up a completely new life of, okay, it's okay to feel like this. It's okay. You know, we all have shit days. We all have great days. You know what I mean? We all lose money. We all get fucked over. But it's okay.
So, like, it's easy to feel like that on the good days, but did you notice the time when you had a real bad day and you weren't going, I want to go on the beer, or I feel like killing myself? Like, is that the first time you feel, oh God, I actually have a bit of control here now?
Yeah.
Like, so when did you go, all right, I think I have a handle on this now? Or what happened that you went, oh no, I think I can control myself now? Like, how do you know when you have control back?
How this works is you do it day by day. Okay? So you humble yourself in the mornings and you ask your higher power to keep you away from alcohol and drugs for the day.
Do you still do that now?
Not as much as I do. In me head, I do
push this in.
I do talk to
Pull this down. Just imagine it's a big
Mackie. Big Mackie. What you do is, you humble yourself. I used to get down on my knees in the mornings, roll out of bed onto my knees, and I used to ask my higher power for help to keep me sober for the day. I done that for years and years and years. And
is this a psychological trick you play on yourself when you say higher power, or is it are you asking God to help?
You're asking God.
Yeah.
Like everyone presumes that God is with religion. For me, religion is bullshit.
Doesn't make sense.
Religion is organized.
Well, yeah, I know. But, so do you go to Mass?
No.
But you believe in God?
I believe in God. I believe in the spiritual side of things.
So what is God to you?
People.
Goodness?
Yes. To me, God works through people. For things to be mapped out in your life, there's people presented to you on a daily basis, and it's up to you to do with information that they give you on a daily basis. So I could have a conversation with you and you could be feeling shit, but I could accidentally bump into you and have that conversation. Now you are after offloading your shit. So how do you feel now? You feel good.
But if there's people going around, they just have more emotional intelligence than other people and more empathy, and they're the people you hope you're walking around and meeting.
Yeah, like you saw.
Like when you've been through what you've been through,
Yeah.
you can, through hindsight, you will have a lot more emotional intelligence and you'll pick up on things.
Yeah.
Then, like when you, like if you, are you a sponsor to someone now? Like, do you help?
Yeah. Yeah. I stay involved. I'm not getting to as much meetings as I should be getting to with the job that I have. a lot of my work is nights. After 6 o'clock, it's full on. I'm always in contact with people. Always in contact with people. The guy that sponsors me, I'll be in contact with him the whole time.
Why'd you come home from the US?
I'd no documentation.
You're an alien. Did you get ran home or did you just...
Joe.
Sir, get the fuck out.
Excuse me, sir? No. It was getting harder and harder. I set up a business out there. Myself and my brother, before he came home, myself and my brother were doing a good bit of work, construction work. And at that stage, Manus had a son out there. And he decided himself and Helena to come home. So little Manny was 6 months old, I think, when they decided to come home.
Then you said, fuck it, I'm going home now.
No, I said on. I think they came home. I think it was 06 when they came home. And I stayed on, worked away out there. And it was getting harder and harder. So what was happening was, to get insurance to drive, there
was more paperwork involved, so it was getting trickier.
Yeah. So like, if you remember all the Irish rallying in Washington, I was part of that. Up in Washington, fucking going around all the senators, Capitol Hill, down the hotel down in Washington, all the senators coming in and speaking and promising you the fucking sun, moon and stars. And at that time, the Kennedy-McCain bill was ready to, the time of 9/11, the Kennedy-McCain bill was ready to push through. And then it was abolished. But they were still trying to push it. But it never happened because there was too many different people there.
So were you sad leaving it?
I was sad. I had great friends in America.
So would that have been one of those tough times that tested you?
It would have been, but I hadn't been home. I'd never been home. From I landed in America, I was never home. And I think what happened was you're trying to push on over there and you couldn't push on. And I think I decided, right, the next step in the next chapter here.
Have to go home.
And going home. There was, my brother and my sister were after having kids that I've never met. You know what I mean? And you're missing your mommy and daddy. You know what I mean? Like, it was...
What was it like coming home? Happy?
I was happy, yeah. I was happy. I'll tell you what finished me in America was Christmas Day. Christmas Day, to me, I love Christmas. I absolutely love Christmas. And what finished me was, they call it an alcathon.
What the fuck is that?
So where what you're doing is you're providing meetings for anyone that needs them 24 hours through a hard period, which is always Christmas. So from Christmas Eve through Christmas Day, you're doing 24-hour meetings.
Oh.
So out there, what happens is, I was part of the Quincy Bay group. So our group was on at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, into the car, headed off, met the boys, we put on a meeting, and then we fucked off home. So I remember going back to the apartment, and I'd nothing prepared for Christmas. Nothing. I presents sent home, family members, but I nothing prepared for myself. And I was after getting a pizza the night before, and I ate about 3 slices out of it. That was my Christmas dinner, the cold pizza the following day.
It was fucking bleak.
Right?
Was there pineapple on it?
It was.
Ah, for fuck's sake, Aaron.
So I ended up going to cinema that night with a friend of mine, and we're back to work St. Stephen's Day, so we worked through, and I remember trying to renew my insurance and there was fucking problems. And I says to myself, don't think I'm going to spend another Christmas here anyway. So I made the decision then, right, we're going home. And I left in May. I think it was the end of May I left. 27th of May I left.
And came home a new man.
Came home a new man.
Your life ahead of you. Did you feel like that? My life's ahead of me.
Yeah.
I have a bit of control here.
Yeah. I remember
Redeem myself with everyone now.
I've been talking to Ian on the phone.
Ian, I swear to God, I'm not going to kill myself again.
Promise you. Promise you, Ian. So
And get rid of the red van.
yeah, out the fucking van. So Ian had another van
Oh, fuck.
waiting
For sleeping in.
for napping. Ian had another van at home.
He still had the tyres.
Ian's flat out with the tyres. And he says to me, right, the opportunity's there. Jump in with me.
Plenty of work.
Plenty of work. Get a wage. Bob's your uncle. So I said, right, perfect. Now he said, no acting the fuck.
You can imagine there would be a little bit of trepidation there.
Yeah. No acting the fuck, Aaron. So I was like, Ian,
I've got this.
this is okay. So I came home, I landed into Ireland at all hours of the morning into Dublin. And Daddy and my brother Manus and my cousin Vanessa were in the airport waiting for me. And it was lovely. It was lovely, so it was.
It was a nice welcome home.
So, Lord have mercy on my poor mother, I was constantly pulling the piss out of Mammy. So, picked up the phone. I says,
Don't tell me you said I'm on the beer in Dublin.
no. Rang mother, I said, I'm after missing my flight in Boston. I says, are the others gone to Dublin? Oh, Jesus Christ, Aaron, you did not. So, kept it up and kept it up and kept it up anyway. And had poor mother wound. So I got out up the road. Daddy and Manison drove into the yard, into Mammy. Should be fucking no sign of him after missing his flight. So I just walked in through the back door.
That was nice for her, I'd say.
Yeah.
Or the fry of her life.
Fry of her life, and like, poor devil, we were constantly pulling the piss out of her, but just kept getting her. You know. Sometimes it backfired. Sometimes it backfired with her. I remember ringing her one day and pretending I was a lad looking for work to be done for Ian. And constantly at this with her. And this fella rang, actually, one Sunday evening, looking for Ian to go out and do a job for him. And she was like, now, Aaron, stop acting the idiot now.
Lost work.
But it was a real fucking customer.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Did you fly it working with Ian then?
Yeah, fluid with Ian. Depression is still there. Still battling with that.
Had you a woman?
No. When I came back, they had, but never got into a relationship.
Sowing the seed.
My
Sowing
man.
the wild oats.
And my wife now is Annette. I met her, used to meet her every day on Tullamore Road. She was working as a chef in the Court Hotel. Used to meet her on the road, wave at her. Got her number of her sister, and I rang her and chatted her. Now, I had been with her years ago, one night, but I was flutered. And I rang her and met her on the Saturday night. So when I landed into the fucking pub in the Mellick Inn, here were all her sisters and her friends with her. And I'm like...
Is it a cunt when you're with alcohol and alcoholism and all your social things are around drink? Is that not... Would you not go, look, I'm not going in there. It's just too much.
At that stage, I didn't give a fuck.
It didn't bother you?
Didn't bother me.
You had that much control over it?
Didn't bother me about alcohol what I
So had you swapped, the alcohol wasn't the problem then, you were suffering with depression?
yeah, well, I always suffered with mental health. The mental health was always there from a child, but it was never recognised or never dealt with until I got sober, and I was maybe 3 years sober when I dived into the mental health side of things.
And are you okay now?
I'm okay now. But it's still, you have to keep a handle on it. You have to, there is X, Y, and Z to be done on a daily basis.
You have a wife and you have kids,
Yeah.
and you have everything now, and you have your own business,
Yeah,
and you're busy,
busy, yeah.
and you have all this love to give to people.
Yeah,
Does that help?
yes, big time.
Does it, like,
Money-
What I try to wonder is, with some depression when people are young, I don't know now, you'd be more qualified to answer this, does responsibility for men help with that kind of thing?
Yes.
Other people other than me count on me.
Remember one thing. You're always an alcoholic, but you're an alcoholic in recovery. Okay? We thrive on pressure. So the more pressure that we're under, the more we perform.
Is that not most men? Is that not psychologically the way we're all built?
Probably is. It probably is. But for me, I'll have a good few things going on, no more than any one of us here. We'll have a good few things going on. But if we've nothing on, you're like, fuck.
That's when the head fucking goes, yeah.
That's when the head fucking absolutely goes into overdrive. So I'm work better under pressure. Like Saturday, I'll give you an idea. Saturday was quiet. And the guy that's working with me, he done a couple of jobs Saturday morning. And I fucked off with my daughter. Brought her over to O'Gorman's in Kilminchie, got breakfast, fluted around the shops, walked around, had a laugh.
Living a dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream of a successful businessman, loads of money.
Is it? Fuck. But I don't get that opportunity too often. So I said to myself, okay, AJ had basketball on Sunday morning. So I was going to say to myself, right, AJ's day is Sunday. And I'll do the same with AJ after basketball. But we brought Kira with us. You know, lovely day. There was arguments, as there is.
As there is.
But we had a lovely day. You know, went down to Athlone Sunday morning. The under 12 games was cancelled. Had to wait around Athlone till 12:30 till the under 13 started. But we fluted around and kept ourselves busy.
Did you mind coming on here to chat?
I was nervous, yeah.
If there's a young Aaron listening now, in where you were at your darkest or at your lowest, what would you say to him?
Everything's going to be okay.
What would you tell him to do?
These are the things that I have done. And I'd start him off there. I definitely wouldn't put him into an institute. Not a fucking hope. There's no place for an alcoholic. I would speak to him. I would explain a lot of things to him regarding your feelings, your emotions. How fear absolutely crippled you. And bring him through that way. To have that pit in your stomach on a daily basis. that will go. Your head will clear and you'll get through it.
So this too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
What would you say to their brothers or sisters or friends? It's a very difficult thing. If you have someone close to you,
Yeah, and they're
and
watching
the Aarons don't want to know. Do you handle it yourself, or do you use tough love? Nothing really worked with you. Only it was nearly strangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very helpless thing for family and friends.
It is, and the true saying is the closer the people are to you, you will push away. When you're in that state, you will push them away from you. And when you're in that frame of mind, it's them are wrong, I'm right. And that's how fucked up you are in your head, that this disease is that powerful that it's calling the shots, that you are crippling yourself to this. Like, people look at me today.
But looking at you today, what you're after saying is, with the right tools,
Yes.
it's not more powerful than you.
Yes, exactly. If you bring these set of tools into your everyday living, don't get me wrong, I can be still a fucking maniac. You know what I mean? But when I'm a complete maniac, or when I'm failing in business, it's because I'm not doing X, Y, and Z to keep this right. You have to pick up those tools in the morning time and get your shit together and listen. Don't be, you know what I mean, trying to fucking conductor's wand, trying to control everything. Pull back, listen. When people are offering you help, take the help. You know, don't be trying to fucking run the whole show yourself. Turn it over and do the best that you can. And that's where we, as males, beat the fuck out of ourselves. Is the hardest person or the hardest critic is me.
Yeah.
Because we feel as a male that we have a wife, we have 2 kids, we're the provider. You know what I mean? We're the one that they depend on, which is bullshit. Because I know my wife Annette, she does an awful lot more than I do.
Don't be fucking saying that now. Oh no, you're going to delete this out, this man. Remember this now. There's a lot of things been talked about here now. That's going straight out of it.
143.40 cut.
Delete. But you know.
I know, but like, I'm busy.
You're busy.
But I was in worse form when I was single.
Yes.
Like, my head wasn't as, like, I'm efficient now. My head's a mess, but I'm more clear.
Yeah.
It's like you golf and you do those. You seem to have a lot of time. Like, when you get stressed out,
Yeah.
do you handle your stress well?
Yeah. Well,
fucking like, has everything.
No, like, obviously I do
Bye,
have
ma.
Bye, ma.
Bye, ma.
I do have like a lot more free time, obviously, because I don't have kids or whatever. Like, but I have my relationship and I have my time with my family and stuff like that. But if I don't deal with it head on, I explode around everybody, and then that's like, and everybody that knows me well enough knows, Like, I don't explode at them, but I implode.
But yeah, you've told me a few times, you're like the Incredible Hulk. You like just go fucking mad sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me, that's, and I have to keep an eye on that. Resentments will fuck you. Where you have a resentment against someone and you're pushing that down.
Well, anger towards people.
Yeah.
So what, do you think forgiveness is important?
No.
Or just letting it go?
Dealing with it. So
How do you deal with resentment?
So
without forgiving?
you're driving along in the car, right?
Yeah.
And you're having an argument, okay? And you're fucking and blinding and you're giving out and you're right, but there's no one in the car. That's his fucking resentment. So, if you deal with that person, the difference between negative and positive people, the negative people will drain you. They will absolutely
Suck the life out of you.
suck the fucking life out of you. The positive people will support you. The positive people are the ones standing beside you. To deal with a resentment is face up. Okay, this is how this made me feel. This is the way I'm carrying this. I didn't like the way you done X, Y, and Z. You approach the person. What happens? That's gone.
So you good with having arguments with, you could help every man in the country now. You're having an argument with the good wife
Yeah.
and you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Will you just walk away, or what way do you handle that? Small little argument, you're 100% right. You're rowing, what do you do? I know I do.
Slam the door.
I fucking disagree with her.
Bait the saucepan off her head.
I go, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Of course you do that. For fucking every man does it. Being honest with you, right? It's very, 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 very seldom. I'm with Annette since September 2008. And I'd say if myself and Annette had an argument 3 times.
That's impressive.
And the reason those arguments were had was because I shut down. And I didn't deal with what was on the plate. I know deep down you have to take responsibility for your shit. That's one thing you have to do in life. If you're going to do something, own the fucking thing. So I'd say 3 times I'd say myself and Annette had arguments. And what happens to me is I shut down. So I have an overload of things going on. There's money owed. There's there's tires going right, left and centre. And you're there, fuck. And I shut down. Instead of going to Annette and saying, hey Annette, this fucking thing's going on. This lad owes me this owes that.
Is she in the business with you?
No. Annette doesn't, she never got involved in the business. But she definitely is there in the background support.
I tell Vicky not.
Yeah.
I genuinely think Vicky lost the baby because of all the stress of the business. There was so much going on. She was helping me in the office, and we were busy, and it was a mess. And once that happened, I was there. That's it. So now the world could be falling down around me, and I just got, it's grand.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Wasn't that nice?
It's not nice, but
Yeah, but isn't it nice to say, fuck it?
oh yeah, fuck it. Yeah, fuck it.
You know? Instead of...
But I don't think I'd be able to say fuck it if I didn't have the kids and all them other things. I don't think I'd be able to say fuck it. Like when I think about the things that used to bother me when I was a young lad, like fucking hell. People's perception of me bothered me. You know, like people's perception of me bothered me. I would be thinking, what's that person thinking of me?
Yeah, had fear of being judged in
Yeah.
categorizing you as
And now fuck.
yeah.
Fuck what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
There was a time I wouldn't go to work unless I had gel in my hair.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I used to think things like that. I'd driving fancy cars and I'd be thinking, I have to, I'd go, like Garrett said one time, I'd go broke trying to look rich.
Yeah.
Now I couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck what anyone thought of me.
Yeah.
But I always think now that it's because I didn't have something real to think about, or I didn't love someone more than I love myself. Now I love people more than I love myself.
Yeah. You understand unconditional love.
Yeah.
And
What life's really about.
yes.
And then when you get older and you see people you love dying, like you see your parents die, you see,
Yeah.
and you know what it's really about.
Yeah.
Just gives you a different perception of
It
life.
does. Like, I lost my mother Friday the 13th.
What a fucking day.
I know. In May. It was, that was fucking tough, boys. It was 2022. Or are we 24, 22?
It's not that long ago, so.
No. And she'd been sick for years. She'd rheumatoid heart arthritis. She was in pain for years upon years upon years. And I remember you'd ring her, how are you, Matt? Asher, I'm all right now, about her. How are you? You know?
That's mammy's fear.
Yeah. And you'd be busy and you mightn't get into her. My business is behind the home place. And there'd be days that you wouldn't have got into her. You'd be fucking in and out. And she'd ring you. Well, son, how are you? I haven't seen you in a few days. Everything all right? You know, always there. 100% for you.
She must have been proud of you though.
Very proud.
Pulling yourself together. And
Yeah. I had a good chat with her. She was sick, really, really sick. And on the Sunday, she was really bad. And myself and my sister went in, changed the bed. My sister changed Mum and gave her a wash. And we chatted and tears rolling down her face. You know, that age group was very, very private. Had their dignity. They were so private. And she said to me, I do not want to go to hospital. And I said, that's fair enough, Matt. You don't have to if you don't want to. So I stayed with her till probably 10 o'clock that night, and my sister was there. I fucked off home. And I got up the following morning at 4 o'clock, and I was out putting a tyre on a lorry. And I was just getting back into bed, and my father rang me. And he says, your mother's breathing isn't good, and she wants to go to the hospital. I says, Dad, she said to me last night that she doesn't want to. And I could hear her, through gasping, get me an ambulance. So I rang the ambulance. Ambulance comes out. Lucky enough, I knew the ambulance driver. And I just said to him, Larry, this woman is very discreet. She's, she's very ill. So please take your time with her. Larry went down, chatted her, and brought her out, and she was in the back of the ambulance, and I was at the back of the ambulance, and she went like that to me, come here. And I get into the ambulance, and she says, I don't think I'm going to be back here again. And I says, you will, Ma. Of course you will. I says, they'll get your breathing right. There won't be a bother on you. She went into hospital, and she was on the ward. The oxygen said it's on the wall. Wasn't able to keep her breathing. So at this stage, one of her lungs had deteriorated say, months beforehand. And now the good lung was deteriorating. So they brought her down to ICU. They put her on the breathing, and then they were afraid of poisoning her with carbon monoxide. And so I was in with her. I came home from work early and I got a shower and I went into her. Dad had been in that day with her, and she was after having to chat with Daddy.
Gotcha.
About their time together, how much he loved her, how much she loved him. And I went into her and she started talking about her childhood. She started going back on her time through the nuns, the beatings that she got, the trauma from her own house in regards of her own mother. Her own mother, Mammy lost her brother at 19. He was killed down the town in Newbridge off a bicycle. And her mother just completely went, the only way I could say is psychopath from there on. She wasn't allowed to go to her brother's funeral. She sat on the step watching her brother go past in the coffin. The beatings that she got from her mother. She was told that the wrong one died. You know, like, this is fucking fucked up shit. She talked to me all about that. And I'll never forget, I was holding her hand and she was rubbing my hand as she was speaking to me. And I said to her, "Did you forgive your mother?" And she said, "Yeah." To me, that gave me a lot of strength in regards of no matter how much of a bastard people can be, there is something triggering them to be cruel. There's something there that triggers a person to make them fucked up. And I remember in the middle of that conversation, a doctor and nurse came in and they called me out. And they explained to me how critical Mammy was. And they were talking about palliative care. And I was like, fuck. And so they explained about the oxygen, about her lungs, about everything else. Now they're starting to give her morphine. So I took this on board, straight back into Mammy. And she says, "Aaron, what do they want?" And I said, "The fucking pastors are moving you to psychiatric." Right?
Yeah.
So that threw that, and then got back into the conversation about she was proud of me. You know what I mean? And that I was lucky to have a net. I was blessed to have the 2 kids. You know, and basically she was doing her farewell. And she said to me, "Listen, you go ahead." She says, "because the others are going to be in now and I won't be able to speak to them." So I said, "Right, no bother at all." So I headed back home and I had 2 jobs to do. Changed my clothes, went out and done the 2 jobs. And I was very, very uneasy. And I went home, changed my clothes, back into the hospital at 10 o'clock. I was standing at the ICU for half an hour and they were working on Mammy. This stage, her breathing just was fucked. And they were dosing her with morphine. So eventually we got in anyway, and my nephew was with me, my sister's son, her eldest son. And we went in and she was on her way. So we fucked off home. I never slept that night. I was back in the hospital then at 4 o'clock. My sister was the same. The ICU nurses were on the phone all night with us. And we came back in anyway. The last conversation, the last words I said to Mammy was, say Mammy was in an ICU ward, right? And there was other patients over. And there was this old one coughing. And I says to her, Ma, do you hear that old cunt over there? And she opened her eyes. I says, that one has COVID, Ma. Right? And she opened her eyes like that and she was looking up. And then I says to her, Ma, money messing. Then she closed her eyes. So, we had to meet a team then, go through the fucking process of down into palliative care, down to the palliative care ward, and sit there. So it was Friday the 13th, 2022. At 10 to 10, she passed. And that was fucking tough. That was tough.
Did you feel like a drink?
No. Drink didn't enter my head, drugs didn't enter my head. But fuck, I felt pain. The pain. You know that overcoming. I think you lost your dad around that time as well.
Oh yeah, it's another level.
It's a fucking other level, lads. It's another level.
What's scary about it is a natural part of life. That's the scary part.
Unfortunately.
So it comes to everyone. So you better have your shit together.
Yeah.
Aaron, it's mad because I talk to you all day and I'd normally ask loads of questions after, little funny ones, but I don't think this one deserves it. Yeah, it's great. It's. I think it's great to have a podcast like that with people like you.
Yeah.
That have been through the shit and do have another end of it.
Yeah, like if you surrender in life and stop trying to control your life in regards of your mental health, your addictions, and surrender to those and take direction from people that have gone through it, and pick up those tools, whether it's NA, AA, whatever your addiction is, start from there. Pick up 12 steps. There's a set of tools there that you can restore yourself to sanity. And that's what we're doing. We're changing the person that we were into the person that we want to be. I didn't want to be an asshole. You know what I mean? I felt like scummy when I was taking drugs. That's how I felt. I felt scummy. But you don't, you know what I mean? You don't have to be that person. Deal with it. Deal with your shit. Own it. Own your fucking shit. Deal with it. And life gets better. Life gets better, so it does.
And you're proof of it.
Yeah, thank God.
Aaron Dunne, thanks a million. No, sorry. Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron. Thanks a million.
No bother. Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it.